Okay, so if you have seen the setup video, this is how we start it. The battle is joined, and let them come. So, take a look at what happens down here to the big battle plugin. It's listening to all of these things, and they'll say it's west side or east side or whatever. As soon as they said it's the western end of the dike, you know it's going to be stone obstruction, statue of Helm Hammerhand, and then it's either powder at the gate or flames at the gate. So we don't need all that set up for horses, and stone obstruction is pretty nicely set as already. I'm going to have to run back and forth as fast as I can to try and make sure that I can get all three archers down. I haven't soloed this one in a long time, so I don't quite know how fast it'll be. They've changed the timing for the archers, so you can give them orders every 30 seconds. Probably not a bad thing in terms of getting through all three of them. So what I'm doing right now is I'm grabbing all the stuff that I had set up for horses. I'm going to move it to set it up for powder at the gate, because that might be one of the final quests. It seems like a lot of work to set this up and then leave, and frankly I don't think you need to go through this much work, but I wanted to make sure that you knew sort of the most efficient placement for these things. What I would like to do at some point down the road is to show how a duo can do this with no setup whatsoever and still get 4 platinums. So I like to place barricades in front of the existing barricades for powder at the gate, and then I'll place a ballista over here. And this will be aimed back at the barricade. So I'm going to pause the recording for now and start it back again in 2 minutes and 30 seconds or so. While I'm setting up this next barricade, I'm just going to drink some coffee. It'll speed things along nicely. I've got just over a minute to go. I'm going to bring that ballista with me, and I'm going to use that for statue of Helm Hammerhand. So I'm going significantly faster right now, which is good. 1 minute left to go. So just a reminder, for stone obstruction, there will be an archer here. I think of that as the east archer. There's an archer on the bridge itself, about here, and there's an archer on the west side. One last thing before we get started. If you press Shift B, you get to the road to battle. Which one is it now? So I'm traded as engineer, but even as engineer, I've got some points in Vanguard. It gives me a plus 18% run speed bonus. So that's certainly something you should consider doing if you have some extra points to spend and you've already got your rank 6 engineer. Officer's a good one to have too, but not particularly for this battle. It's not that necessary. So it starts in 15 seconds. You can speed up the start time by killing one of the rows of bad guys or columns of bad guys that are out there, but I don't see any value in doing that in this particular battle. I'll show you what I'm talking about when we get to the wall battle later. So go around, give orders. They're not that bright, so you have to give orders every 30 seconds. Not sure what they think those bows are for. I'm going to just hop on my goat, ride all the way back to the west, and do it again. Hopefully with all those barricades, the bad guys won't be able to get up the corner. So there's really not much to this. Go give orders. And because it's not the most exciting thing in the world, I think I'm going to pause the recording. Okay, so it seems to be going pretty smoothly. Just over halfway there. So 8 out of 15 have been killed, no archers defeated, no rocks placed by the down landings. The barricades seem to be doing their job nicely. I'm going to throw one trap down here. I love using tripwires. Tripwire is the best trap of all. It stuns the enemy, lets the soldiers do their job. Hop back on my goat, back out to the west. Unfortunately, I only got 15 minutes of recording on this thing, so I may have to pause again. I can't believe 5 minutes have already gone past. Back on my trusty goat. Hickory. Props to Hickory. 14 bad guys dead. Oops. And that's it. Alright, I'm going to pause it and see you at the statue. Okay, so the quest starts in about 5 seconds. I'm throwing tripwires right where I'm standing. You may not be able to see it really well. There's a ballista in there that I've built aiming up the hill. I found that if you aim the ballista down the hill, then it overshoots the target. You aim up the hill, it shoots just a few feet or meters in front of you, and you can control much easier how far it goes. They don't really pay much attention to the ballista, they just get killed by it after they go past. So this is where it's targeting. It may be a little strange to orient yourself right where you're shooting, but it means you can throw the tripwires down really easily. I've also spent most of my engineer points on, or not most, but I mean the early engineer points I spent on crank. So I'm firing very quickly. Now I see a troll up there. I'm going to continue firing, but I'll also do direct damage to it with my own personal runekeeper skills. It's a little hard to balance both at the same time. The ballista does more damage than I do, so I definitely want to make sure that I give the ballista time to do its work. Stun the troll there a little bit, and then down it goes. Okay, so I'm going to pause it again. I'll get you back for the next wave. Okay, so there's only 2 trolls left to go. 1 wave of bad guys left. We should be good here. Throw down another tripwire. At this point, gotta kill that troll. Come on, click. There we go. Stun it. Hopefully that'll finish that one off. And there it is. Okay, so I immediately dismantle this and take it back to powder at the gate. And I will see you for the final quest. Okay, so this is where I like to hang out between quests, just waiting at the rope. So if it's powder at the gate, I immediately click on the rope, head downstairs, run the ballistas. If it's flames at the gate, just get off my horse and get ready to blast them. This is what I meant when I said that I spend points on load. Build is just a means to an end. Spend points on crank. You can spend more, but it goes so quickly when you're firing a ballista that way. And lots of points on tripwire, because I think those are the most effective. And then I spent some points on run speed. I also have a second one that's traded for officer, so I can give orders to the commanders as I need to. I'll give orders, then I'll immediately switch back over. Oh, what did we do here? Still waiting. Okay, so I'm waiting for the side quest. Waiting. As you can see, Gunholm is a member of my kin. Flames at the gate. So that's the one that's upstairs. I'm going to immediately switch over. Now if there were 2 of us, it would be a lot easier. One of us would fire each catapult. Boom, 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 it'd be dead. As it is, I'm going to fire one, switch over, fire the other. It'll still be dead. Hopefully in the next 5.5 minutes while I can still record this. It'll probably take about a minute. So it should show up somewhere in here. go. And fire, switch over, fire, load heavy shell, crank, might crank twice, fire again. And I'm just going to load and crank until this thing's dead. See that little number that pops up on top of it? That's how you know you're doing the damage to it. Now, in a couple seconds, it's going to unload some fire on the gate. But as long as you've done your job, it won't actually have time to affect the gate before it dies. You don't have to worry about being down there to extinguish it or anything like that. Hopefully that's it. That's it. So that's how you get the platinums. Solo setup. Obviously there's going to be more than one way of doing this battle. That's a way that I've found to be efficient, working with many people in our kin and outside of the kin, sort of fine-tuning things. I used to have the catapult set up around the corner over here. It never occurred to me to stick them on the bridge. From here you can see the war machine too, shooting down there, but it takes 2 or 3 cranks. It's pretty hard to solo it if you have to do that. What else can I tell you about this? So shooting uphill. Oh, orders for the commanders. Let's do some orders for the commanders. At this point the battle's over, so there's really nothing to worry about. You just want to make sure you don't lose your platinum. So I'm going to press Shift B and switch over to officer. Oh, maybe I'll show you how I trade officer. So with officer, I do haste orders, heal orders. I don't use banners a lot, especially if I'm alone. So banners gone, banners gone. I haven't done any of those. I just skip them. Again, with the run speed, a little bit of order distance. So basically, it's the main purpose of me switching to officer is so I can do this. Instead of having one-handed stance, I'm going to give them two-handed stance and target sappers. Two-handed and sappers, very helpful. I'm going to throw a damage order and then switch back to engineer. That's the only time I really use officer, is to be able to do the two-handed stance and sappers. So I think that's all I need to show you. I'd love to be able to show you the other quests. I'm going to try and set this up and record it again at some future time, and then I'll try and do the Dike and the other runs for you as well. So thanks for watching.